Workshop meeting. Thank you all for attending tonight. First order of business tonight is some presentations, and the first presentations are always great. We've got some introduction of some new personnel. Who's doing the introductions?
Well, I'll start with, I have Tish Marty here with us. She has been doing a
Tish, come.
fantastic job with our permitting. She's full-time with us now. Prior to Marty, we had a part-time permitting administrator, and we are getting so many permits in that we had to change it to a full-time. And she's doing a fantastic job with the new software, and we're very thankful to have her.
Tish, welcome. I know I've gotten to meet you a couple times in the office.
Yeah,
So glad. Thanks for joining us.
I feel like a rock star.
And we were at the Municipal Association last week, annual meeting, and there was conversation about the new software. Is it working well for us at the town of Port Royal?
Well, yeah, when I came in, we still are using an older version of a permitting software and this newer version. And I think they're both good
Great.
applications. They both have their pros and cons. This new software, I think, is really going to be a game changer when we get to the point where we can utilize it to its full extent.
Great. Well, let us know if there's anything we can do to help you.
I appreciate that.
Thanks. So welcome aboard.
Thank you
Welcome
very
aboard.
much.
Good to see you.
And Sergeant Chief, come on up.
We just want to welcome Russell Simmons in. He's one of our new officers. Celebrity. We hired last week, and we would definitely like to swear him in so he can hit the ground running.
Oh,
He's been
we'd love that.
chomping at the bit. So if you'll give me a few minutes, or
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
What was your name?
absolutely.
Certified already?
not yet.
Oh, okay, so you've got to go to the academy.
If you'll raise your right hand and just repeat after me, okay? I state your name.
I, Russell Simmons,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I'm duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of this office
to exercise the duties of this office
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed,
and that I will
and that I will
equally,
equally,
fairly,
fairly,
and impartially,
and impartially,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution of this state
and defend the Constitution of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. Thanks. Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
So much for
I
doing
appreciate
the
it.
join us. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks, guys. Put out your paperwork now.
So redevelopment commission?
Now, next we have Ms. Pamela Courtney with
Okay.
the Historic Port Royal Foundation.
Pamela.
I see some beautiful shirts.
Oh, hello.
And I brought T-shirts as well.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. I'm bearing gifts.
Pamela Courtney, and
I'm Ron Marcel. I work for Naval Hospital Beaufort.
so we're going to,
We've spoken. We have, yes, sir. I'm the emergency manager there, like hurricanes and active shooter planning, that kind of stuff. And I'm also the command historian for the command, and it is in that role that I'm here tonight, sir.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us.
okay. So we're working closely together, and so we've now come up with a 12-month plan for the 150th. You guys have got copies of what's on the PowerPoint, so we'll kind of go through them real quickly. So we're excited about the 150th of the town of Port Royal, and then the 75th of the Naval Hospital Beaufort. So I'll talk a little bit, then when it comes on part for Ron's part, then he's going to jump in here. So this is the official logo, and
I like how you worked the anchor in it.
Yeah.
we now have a place here at Town Hall or wherever that you guys would like to put that.
Nice.
And this is the film, and this is the other one.
Very good.
I like how you worked the anchor in there.
Looks very good on both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
And having Jean Ribot as for our Ribot run, which will be new, totally new. We'll talk about that in just a second. All right, we've done a 12-month calendar, so there's a title on every one of the months. Some stuff, I mean, there's always room for, making some changes, but at least we've got some type of pattern to go through of what we're going to be doing through that 12-month time and tie in. And I'm going to let Ron speak to the naval.
Right. Mr. Mayor, honored members of the council, again, Ron Marcel, Naval Hospital, Beaufort. Just our opening slide, I had to put some cool history pictures up there. We bought the land in 1945 and 46 here in Port Royal. That's our groundbreaking ceremony in 46. You can see that we laid the cornerstone in 47. These aerial views of the hospital, especially the one in the lower left being constructed, I think it's neat because it just shows the land here in Port Royal and how undeveloped that area was there along Old Shell for a while there. And then that's our commissioning ceremony on the 29th of April. And it's kind of small, but I don't know if you can see that little kid laying there just playing with the grass. He didn't care at all. With that said, next, please. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have talked with our commanding officer, of course. We're not just making this up as we go along. We have his permission, what we call commander's intent, to allow the Rebo run to include the path running through the Naval Hospital, right inside of our security gate and all that stuff. There's a path that runs the entire inner perimeter. So we got
That's the one
permission.
that was just recently redone.
Just the portion between the gate and that gate 2 that's never open.
Okay.
That was redone.
Okay.
The also, commanding officer is willing to speak at any functions that the town of Port Royal may have representing their 150th year next year. Just he's open to that. The week preceding our birthday on April 29th of next year, the week preceding and the week following, we intend to have history displays set up, tables, interesting stuff inside the hospital, and that's another opportunity for us to cooperate in that. If the town, if the Historic Port Royal Foundation would like to also have displays there, we welcome that, as us having been around for half your history. That's just an overhead view of the Naval Support Facility Beaufort. For any, I know people tend to call it Naval Hospital Beaufort. Still, the hospital is Naval Hospital Beaufort. The installation, which used to all belong to Navy Medicine, is now, as of 1 October in 2011, belongs to Navy Region Southeast and Admiral out of Jacksonville. So that's Naval Support Facility Beaufort. Naval Hospital Beaufort is the primary tenant on board that installation. Our commanding officer is dual-hatted, so he's the CO of both, so we get along pretty well with the installation. I wanted to point out, too, though, with this, we will have personnel stationed along that run so that at no point is anyone outside of the view. These runners coming in, they're not vetted, so these people are not only for medical assistance, they'll all have radios and can call help, but also security, make sure none of the runners get off the path and just do what they're supposed to do and be gone. On the actual day of our ceremony, we're kind of backwards planning it. We're timing to raise the flag at noon, as it was done 75 years ago. So we want to start at 11. Mr. Mayor, sir, you will be invited officially. I'm inviting you now, but you will get an official invitation to please speak in our ceremony, I hope. Yes. You will do that. If it's raining outside, we'll do it inside. We're going to invite the band, as they were also there 75 years ago. Local military leaders, we're hoping for Representative Mace, the USS Port Royal COs. There's a slew of honored guests that we're going to ask to be there. And just to point out, it's not going to be an open base, so people can't just come anybody. It has to be invited and all that. And I'm sure we'll have a bunch of seats, but it's not open base. The CO does think that he's pretty confident he can get an F-35 to fly over right there at noon. I think that would be really cool. And we'll do some light refreshments and hospital tours. We should be done by about 1300, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, all right now. Just some considerations for that day. Our time slot is pretty hard, and I know the unveiling of the USS Port Royal exhibit for the Historic Port Royal Foundation Museum, that time slot at 1400, 2 o'clock is also pretty hard. But in our talks, we've said that we can both be flexible and respectful of Ms. Mace's time, should she decide to come down here, and respectful of everybody's time. with those commanding officers coming down from the Port Royal, we'll obviously invite them to the 75th ceremony. And what's still a little open is in what other ways we might be able to interact with them while they're here. I can just imagine that our commanding officer, executive officer, command master chief are probably going to want to have some time to honor with them, sit down with them. That is my portion. Before we go on to anything else, comments or questions for the Naval Hospital aspect of this so far?
Appears to be well thought out.
No, I'm very much looking forward to it.
No, just, yeah, thank you so much for that. I know that that's, having that much activity there can be difficult to do sometimes, so thanks for your help. And
Sometimes it
open
is,
to the
yeah.
public, and so that's great. It's,
Our partnership, I mean, we're very aware that we're lucky to be in a community like this. So, yeah, we just want to cooperate as much as we can.
Reminding you, one of the oldest operating naval hospitals, right?
So we are the oldest naval hospital still providing services in its original building.
oldest.
The oldest.
The oldest naval hospital.
Yep.
In its original building.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Because
Well,
the caveat, Naval Hospital Portsmouth up there, it has a new building, and their old original hospitals now, like admin and storage.
Right. We're good that way. We're the oldest. That's
We are,
right. We'll
that.
We'll keep it that way, right here in Port Royal. We'll keep it that way. No, I think it's
Okay.
great, and I think, and I understand it's not gonna be an open base, and maybe we need to look at whatever's possible to remind people about the Naval Heritage Park right outside, especially for the flyovers. Maybe we can do some
Community
other
can
setups
something.
out there in that aspect, a little bit of what's happening, so people who can't get onto the base can still come and see right outside on that area.
Right.
And be able to do something with Old Shell Road, we'll own that by that point, without a doubt, we can close the road. We
Yep.
can do some different things in that aspect as well. So let's think about that and how we can expand it
Community
outside the gate into the park for the,
Good.
for the
Yes, sir.
citizens who can't get inside.
Great, yeah, we'll do that. Just to speak unplanned to something too, she'll talk about volunteers from the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, but the Air Station and the Naval Hospital, we all have these young petty officers, Navy and Marines. These youngsters get points basically for advancing every time they do some kind of community service. So as we're doing all these functions, I don't think it's going to be hard to get volunteers
Yeah.
to help us.
They've always been very helpful.
Yeah.
Always have been.
That's my part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, so I'm just going to run through this really, really quickly, and you guys can absorb this and chat with it. But the Rebo Run, like that, I'm just calling that the real deal, because we've got a lot of things going on in that month. But we are going to have a 5, 10, and 15, plus an ADA race. And we're working with Charleston to make sure that we do get the right kind of race to come down Paris Avenue to make it, much easier. Grounded Running is the one that is taking care of the timing, and I have their packet with you all that has their contract. He's not here tonight because he's out of town. I have requested 50 volunteers from Paris Island for that event, so we're starting to get that kind of coverage. Our advertising has to begin in September for this race, so we're on a critical path at this point. That's next month. And there's just other things that we're the dog show thing, everybody likes dogs here. That's one thing. And at 2 p.m., the rededication of the Stephen Millett Park. I have also requested the flag be flown over the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. on that morning. It'll take about 30 days to come in from that time, and hopefully maybe it'll be in at the point of April the 29th when we have that part coming in. Of course, Mr. Mayor will be requesting you to speak if you would. The contacts that we've already made regarding this are below, and also also Gary Sinise Foundation and Lieutenant Dan Band to come in possibly. I'm waiting for that response now, and that's where we're kind of saying as far as any activities. I'm going to wait to hear from them first before I report back to you on that, but that's a possibility. And then moving into the 29th, of course, with the unveiling, and we have been really exceptionally privileged to have the first captain of the USS Port Royal who has agreed to come in, plus Captain Dave Adler and Captain Matowitz, and they're both former COs of the USS Port Royal, and they will be all coming in on that day. In the evening, we're going to have a lecture, and all these captains, plus plus Ron will be speaking about the USS Port Royal and the Naval Hospital. So that'll be kind of our tie-in, but we're very, very flexible working together. And then this goes on through May to December, and the only thing that, SARS in May, I have contacted the cultural office at the Embassy of Spain to see regarding, getting a ship in and their docking needs. I talked to Van about that, and he asked for some very specifics for us and what to ask for. So I'm waiting for that response. As soon as I get that back, I'll let you know whether that's even a possibility of May of 2024. And then skipping ahead to October, last December, the USC came in here and talked about the Shakespeare, and I've had several meetings back up there, and it's been tough to move them off of even getting a template of a contract, with them. And I said, the town's going to ask me for a contract, and then they started hedging on money and this and that. So what I have gone and recommended is that for sustainability, not only for the Historic Port Royal Foundation, but to also put Port Royal on the map, is to begin in International Storytelling Festival, which would begin in October. And this would be part of it, and we can start doing those plannings now. And these, you can just, I'm just going to go through these quick. These just happen to be, you can see the tree out there and some of the other items, how this community really communicated before emails and text and everything and phone calls. This is what was happening right across the street here. I'm not getting, this is not moving forward.
There we go.
Okay. Newspapers. This was the Stephen Millett Park dedication. Program. You can see who came to Port Royal, way back. And then this was from 1932 when they made a decision to make this park across the street, and why. So you guys got a little bit of history, going back. All right, and I don't think that we have to beat the horse to death on impacts and benefits from putting us on the map and the critical importance that Port Royal has, nationally and internationally. And so then I would like to have the town of Port Royal to set aside, and I had talked to Van about this also, about $30,000 for the next year to have that under consideration for us. And that is it. Is there any questions?
I got one. Can you talk a little bit more about the Sam Murray Scholarship?
Yes, I
First
would
I've
love
heard
to.
of this.
Yeah, okay, that want to make sure that we can also next year in June, deliver that. I've just talked to our principal here at Port Royal Elementary about using that facility as a place that we would present it, having an open house at that time, because they're doing a tremendous amount to the school, and could we use that as the venue for presenting it, because that's where things start, in elementary. But it will be to a graduating senior going on to college who has made a decision to major in education at USCB. So it'll be local, going
There's an endowment
local.
already set, there's a scholarship already set up.
Yes,
Yes.
there is,
Okay.
there is. And so if anybody would like to give to that, that
Yeah,
would
how do
be
you contribute to
fantastic.
to that?
Yeah, you can go right on our website.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Historic
pretty
Port
neat.
Royal Foundation website.
Yes, uh-huh,
for the
yeah.
Sam
And
Murray
again, it's
Scholarship.
Sam Murray Scholarship, and because he was all about education.
That's right.
So,
That's what he
so,
did.
so this is,
He was
so
an
it's time to
educator.
give back, and June would be, of next year would be the good time to give that out.
That's awesome.
Well, Pam, I want to thank you for your leadership, your dedication, and your commitment to this cause.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you guys for all of your support. I mean, it's been really great.
And we've had the conversation during the budget time. I know Van's got that money put aside.
Yeah, okay. And anything else, just tell me, and if we can start this process, with speaking to the police department and the fire department on what we have to do with the run and getting that set up, and we can go
Great.
right ahead. Thank you.
As you're reaching out to people, inviting people, if you need any letters from us supporting this event, just let us know, and we can get something set up for our signatures.
Okay,
you-
and we
that
can
you
put the
talk.
signs up here to get people excited
Yep.
about when they come in here and they say, what is this about? You know, and you guys are gonna say,
Yep, we'll start
this
talking
is
it
a
up.
big, talking it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke, council briefing?
First, we have an interview with, for the
Oh,
redevelopment
sorry,
commission.
jumped one there.
No problem. And Mr. David Stillwell is in the audience.
David, come forward.
Hello, all you famous people I love to see. How are y'all today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. You waterboarding me first, or?
Nope,
No, I'm
nope.
kidding.
So,
It's later.
No,
tell you a
good, I
little bit
figured.
about, you know, we interview everybody who wants to sit on one of our boards or commissions.
Yes, sir.
And it's just your opportunity to tell us why this is important to you
Yeah.
and what you think you're gonna be doing and what you can contribute to that board commission.
Well, so me and my wife talk frequently that we don't know if we're unusual, but maybe we are. We try to think 30 to 50 years ahead, either to already the end of our lives or beyond our lives for our kids and our grandkids. It's how, when I was 6 years old, I started a coin collection for my grandkids. So I don't think most 6-year-olds think like that. And I believe that here in Port Royal, we're at a very crucial time, a moment in history where we're either going to make this place more incredible for the next generation, or we're going to make it something that most people can't obtain and can't reach. We really, the decisions made today are going to affect forever. And my kids and grandkids, which I hope to raise here, would love to have grandkids run around these parks and playgrounds. So I want to be part of that any way I can. Me and my wife moved here to Port Royal specifically because we heard about the trail back in 2018. I don't know how long that had been in development at that point, but we had just moved from Tigerville, South Carolina, where the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which was fundamentally is the exact same thing as the trail we're doing here. We went to school actually in Tigerville, right by Travelers Rest. The trailhead ended in Travelers Rest, and they built a brewery there. Well, back in 2018, we're like, I think they're planning on doing that here. And in the span of about 3 years, we saw that tiny town with dilapidated houses turn into just a beautiful, beautiful city. And we see that, I mean, since 2018, we've seen that here exponentially, but I believe we're about to hit a point that's even faster, farther than we've ever been. So would love to be part of that.
Very good. I rode then fairly close to where you live last week, because I rode through Travelers Rest and Swamp Rabbit Trail twice last week.
When I was there in
That way.
2014, you could buy a house there for about $10,000, and
What-
it was nothing happening.
Right, what a difference Travelers Rest looks from the day one that trail opened to what it looks like now.
Absolutely.
It's amazing what can happen. Yep. Questions from council for David?
Nope. Thank you for wanting to serve.
Thank you for willing to serve. You understand the bounds of what we're doing with the redevelopment commission? Have you?
I haven't had a massive sit down with anybody, no, but
Okay.
I'll take it from you.
Well, the redevelopment commission was really reformatted about a year ago, where we're focusing them on a specific area of the town, which is the Reboat Road corridor at this point in time.
Yes.
So it's 1 to 2 lots off of Reboat Road. It's from the bridge to the town limits. I won't say what I originally called it, from the bridge to the town limits in that aspect. And we're really looking to refocus that to make that much more business and pedestrian friendly, so that businesses, a lot of small, maybe mom and pop style businesses, want to come into that corridor and use that corridor. So there's a lot that needs to be done. The commission has already done a great job of identifying some of the roadblocks, some of the things that are needed. We're all trying to push that forward, and it's just a matter of keeping this. It's not something that's going to happen fast, but it's something that we've got to stay on and keep moving and keep looking for what's the best way to do something along that. One of the classes I went to last week when we were up at the annual conference was, how to bring retail business, and the way we were all taught about it even a couple of years ago was it was your population of your town that made the decision, and there's a change going on that it's really now of who drives through and the circle in more of a zone of influence than it is just your population numbers. And everybody needs to understand, Riverboat Road has about 30,000 cars a day that goes down, and that is a heck of a zone of influence
Yes.
that we've got to figure out how to market, and we're looking for you guys to help us in that way.
Absolutely.
Anything else anybody wants to add? So the way this goes, we interview tonight, we'll talk about it in an executive session next week, and then we'll vote on it at a regular council meeting.
Appreciate y'all.
Thanks,
bunch.
David.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Now, following the agenda,
Now, council briefing.
council briefings.
I should have Mr. Dean Moss in the
Dean.
audience. There he is. He's gonna give a update on the Spanish Moss Trail.
Perfect timing, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for the opportunity. As you probably know, the bids for this section of the Spanish Moss Trail, which will run from Smilax down across Rebo Road, past Penders, down and ultimately slip into Ritter Circle, those bids went out on the street last Tuesday. They will be due, bids are due at the county on August 24th. And the county, at least from what they have told me, anticipates a notice to proceed during the week of October 9th. So in theory, we can be under construction in the first 2 or 3 weeks of October.
Fantastic.
I would like to personally get this thing done by Christmas, but, you know,
Be a great Christmas present
we'll
to
just
the
have,
town.
we'll just have to see. It's been a long trip to get to this point. Permitting is, with DOT, has been, you know, a long process. We are going to have to redo Pender Brothers driveway in the process in order to get across there. But the main problem and the main part of the project is the construction of the signal lights. It'll be a pedestrian-controlled signal crossing just like we have in 170. And everybody I tell this to, it just shakes. I mean, because of the speed of traffic on that stretch. And my, at least what I tell myself is that about probably 60 or 75% of the people that drive that road drive it every day. And so eventually they'll get used to the idea that there's a trail crossing there. A couple of final things that need to be done, and I've talked to Van about it, and he's working on both of them, I think. One is to finalize the easement with Safe Harbor, because once we cross Rebo Road, we're going to be on Safe Harbor property, and we'll be basically on Safe Harbor property pretty much ultimately all the way to Ritter Circle. There is a piece of private property that we'll need to go across. Van has been working with those owners to acquire that's very small property, and we're talking $3,000, $4,000 to buy it. I mean, it's nothing significant. So if everything goes according to plan, by the end of the year, I'm hopeful that we will be riding on that trail or walking on that trail. I've got a couple of things that I'd like to suggest to council. I took a trip with Kevin last week. We met to talk about it and just ended up driving and taking a look at where it was going to go. So if you haven't been there, I'd be more than happy to put you in the golf cart and ride you and kind of show you the alignment where this trail is going to be and how it's going to work. That's the first piece of it. The second piece of it is the question, where do we go from here? We know that the section coming down the old right-of-way comes through the Safe Harbor Bluff property, which is going to be residential at some point. And at least based upon what I've been told, the people that are looking at it from a residential standpoint have included the trail in their design. And that would get us down roughly to the restaurant and the ale house. So from there, we have some planning to do. We need to decide what the appropriate route is. Do we come down to 8th Street and cut across? Do we try to get to 7th Street and cut across? I think the original plan, which was to come down through what is now Safe Harbor's industrial project, is probably not going to work. So we're going to have to cut across, to get across Paris Avenue somewhere 7th and 8th Street. Get over, and then I've kind of looked at the idea of a bridge that will take us across that short marsh section into the new town woodland property along Sands Beach Road. The other question is, once on Sands Beach Road, once you get past that woodland property, of course, the road narrows down to very, very, very narrow, and we're not going to be able to run it along there. We're going to have to either end it at the woodland or look at something like a boardwalk that would diagonally cut across to the parking lot across the marsh. Those are questions that are out there in the future we're going to have to wrestle with. But I think it would be useful for council and staff to kind of tour that area and look at what we're doing. I mean, I told Van, all the sidewalk work, I don't want another sidewalk going on 8th Street on the right side of 8th Street until we make this decision, because if you put it in, and all of a sudden we've got a 5-foot sidewalk there when we should have a 12-foot sidewalk there. So, at any rate, those are my 2 points, and I do have a couple of other points dealing with Smilax Road that I've had some complaints and concerns the trail has from property owner on Smilax, really on 2 things: on maintenance of some of the landscape along that access point and into the trail and along there, and also the fact that people who come down the trail who are not from here do have a hard time figuring out exactly where to go, and they attempt apparently crossings of Rebo at the wrong spots, and the right spot is at Paris, and there's a perfectly easy to navigate route to get you to that point, but we need some signage. So I'm just hoping that maybe town will, maybe I can talk to staff, and I don't think we're not talking expensive signs. We're just talking safe downtown Port Royal arrow kind of signs that we can get up there for people.
And I'll hold it right there. Brooke, do you know where we are on getting the new pavement? I know we talked about putting sharrows down when they stripe that pavement. Do you know where that is at this point? Anything on that?
I do not.
Okay, we'll check on that when Van gets
Working on
back.
closing things out.
Yeah, well, let's ask our engineer, because I think we talked about doing sharrows on that road when they restripe it after the paving. Problem with the paving and striping is like a 6 months lag between those 2 points to get the stripers in town. But let's see if we can't help with that and signage then.
Okay. That's what I have. Any questions, Councilman? Go ahead.
Thank you for everything that you've done on this project. We kept referring to Smilax. Is the trail going to actually deviate and come down Smilax, or is it at the end and just continue straight as it is?
It's going to come down from where it ends, right at Smilax.
Where it ends there,
It's
after
going to-
you
it's
pass
gonna-
Smilax.
It's going to go straight from that point, right
Okay.
along its alignment, swing
Along-
over to the, as you're going toward Port Royal, to the right side of the right-of-way.
Okay.
So it's going to be pushed over to the right side of the right-of-way, and this is DOT's determination. They were going to cross there, and then we'll kind of ease back a little more to the left and go down past Pender Brothers on the right side of their property, or the right side of that open space beside Pender
Yeah,
Brothers.
that was my question, because I know there is a portion that's on Smilax that terminates there at the
Right.
gravel, but no, we're going to continue straight.
Right.
That was pretty good.
But
And
the
that's what-
Smilac portion will always remain as a way for people on Smilac to
Access
get onto the
the trail,
trail
right,
and use
okay.
the crossing.
Right, that's.
And I'm hopeful at some point, perhaps we could pave
Smilax.
that one section of
Where the
Smilax where the
gravel is,
pavement
yeah.
ends and the concrete trail.
We do not
starts
own
with.
that section,
I
but we do
understand.
know who owns it. and
We
we'll
do
see if
know
we
who
can't-
I'll say it
We can't
was,
talk with them a little bit.
it was, Rich, how long have you been involved with this project?
Since the start,
Since kind of before it started, I
Okay.
guess you can say. But
So,
mean,
and I will, just for council, that
planning.
going out there and checking it out is very helpful to put eyes on it. It's always also fun to go off-roading with Dean Moss in the truck, so if anybody wants to
Put me on
kind of
your
know what he's
calendar.
looking about, just let me know, we can
Put
go
me
out
on
there and I'll show
your
you
calendar.
exactly where,
I've been
exactly
down it
drive
many
around
times.
exactly what we're
Take
talking
the
Been
about.
down it many
Oh,
times if anybody needs to see it as well. And the statement about the light, I think it's important that we understand this pedestrian crossing Speed limit on Reebok Road is no different than the speed limit on Highway 170.
Right.
There's no more lanes on Reebok Road than there's lanes on Highway 170. The light has been there on 170, works well, I cross it, sorry, I know you cross it many times. We've all been there, it works well. Like I said, last week I happened to be up in Greenville, brought my bicycle, got to go for rides in the morning and late at night. There are 5 of them that I used along the Swamp Rabbit Trail as you head out, and every one of them worked just fine. People stopped. Some of those roads were even faster than the roads here, and there was amazing. One of the things I found real interesting, Dean, and next time you get up to Greenville, is they actually have counters now. They have digital counters at a few of the crossings.
Right.
That every day it resets to 0, and it can tell how many bicycles and how many pedestrians go by. And when I went through there Friday night, I think it was Thursday night, the amount of pedestrians, there had been over 20,000 pedestrians through that day, and it was pretty late. It was dark when I was that had walked past that sign that day. I mean, it was beautiful weather, it had cooled off a little bit, and it was amazing. I don't remember how many bicycles had gone by that section. So I had not seen those counters before on the trail, but that's something they've added. We can reach out to them and see what's going on with that.
Yeah, we had the county buy counters and put them out. They have 2 or 3 counters that can go out, and we did have them out.
Yeah.
And they took them in.
They took them and you put them somewhere else.
All right.
Thanks,
So-
Dean. Thanks for all your help.
You're welcome,
And
Mr.
thanks to
Mayor,
all
members of
friends.
council.
Thanks to friends of the board.
I will.
That was one of the boards I was disappointed I had to resign from to be mayor.
That's what I was gonna say. I know
Yep.
you've been on
He,
it for a long
an
time.
awful lot of this falls on his shoulders,
Yeah.
you know, as chairman of that
Yep.
board for many
Yep.
years. So,
We're getting it to that point, and I'm glad. So,
Right.
thank you.
thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you for what you did.
I'm excited. I'm excited. October, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, so am I. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, this evening, I'm gonna just give you guys an update on some of the capital projects that I'm working on. I normally give you a spreadsheet, which it is in your folder, but I figure this is a good chance for me to describe a little bit more of what's going on, and if you have any questions, you can let me know. Sidewalk projects, we are nearly complete with, the sidewalk project that we started. The town, we ended up deciding to phase it out because we have the elementary school and the Al-Anon Hall that we're gonna be working on, and we feel that that needs survey work and design, and we're coordinating with the school district, so we're gonna take a little bit more time with that, but, besides that, we're almost finished. Just to give you some numbers, we currently have 3,882 feet of sidewalk that's been completed. We're working on finishing 1,478 additional feet. And then the phase 2 for the school in Al-Anon will be 820 feet of sidewalk. So that was a good chunk of sidewalk done for the downtown area. Roadway paving will be our next project. We are hoping to start sometime in September. They're still trying to figure out when they'll be able to start, but they would like to have it complete before the end of 2023. So I'm excited to continue to hear that. Oh, and they're also going to be looking to see if they can construct the speed tables that Ben found up in Charleston area. So I sent him the designs for that today, and he'll be getting back to me if he'll be able to incorporate that into the project. I'm sorry.
It's over a mile of sidewalk.
Yes.
5,280 feet in a mile. We're talking about 6,180 feet of total sidewalk being put into this area. It's a lot of sidewalk. And that we're not done in any way, but
Correct.
that phase is done. And I think it's important we explain what's happening at the elementary school a little bit more. So the reason we're working with them is we're making some organized parking, and we want to do the sidewalk along with some organized parking on the side street, the same as we did for the park around the back. So we moved the sidewalk further in, and we got diagonal parking being set up. So we're trying to accommodate some parking as well as the sidewalks around that because that's a heavy activity zone in there.
I noticed the curb stops were down there today when I rode through there. That's at the back by Levitt Park. So that will be diagonal?
Yep.
That's good, because I was wondering if that's gonna be like head in or diagonal. but
Diagonal is what we finally ended up
It's
with.
gonna work much better.
Noah and Brooke laid it out.
On the 12th Street side,
Yes.
it'll be angled as well.
Diagonal.
Good, it'll work much better. I was glad to see that.
Yep, very good. Just wanted to make sure we
And that'll keep people
bring
from
all those
parking
numbers
on the
together,
sidewalks.
you know.
Bruce Edgerly Park, Noah and I've gone out to discuss with the county staff with parking. We're excited with the parking along Richmond Avenue. We have a little problem, but not problem, but we're gonna have to do a little more detail design because we have a drainage area for half the air that towards 16th Street?
Basically between
16th
15th and 16th,
yeah.
there's a drainage ditch on Richmond. And the number of angled parking spaces that the county would like next to the park, they'll need to pipe the ditch, pipe and fill the ditch, and then that way they can meet their counts. But they'll need to provide ADA spaces, so they need to engineer that to look at what the grade is from Richmond on the pavement up to the park, because it is up a little bit to the park. So all that they're working on figuring out if they can engineer that and design it, and we will assist them with that as any way we can as well with Michael. So
I assume there'll be extra ADA spaces considering it is an ADA park.
yeah, there's a I think it's just a one minimum, so they'll probably do two, and wherever the access is into the park from Richmond, the two spots will straddle that access so that the
And they are talking about doing a ribbon cutting ceremony. This is gonna take some time for the parking, but prior to that, we will do a ribbon cutting once they finish the landscaping and installing the equipment. But in the meantime, the park is not open. We will have notices go out as soon as the park is open.
I saw that they actually put signs around there saying the
Yes.
park's not open now, so it looks so finished, but
It
it's not
does.
finished. It's a lot to do to get a park safe.
Correct. Stormwater, we received a grant from the Rural Infrastructure Authority, and Michael Klink and I are working on getting the surveys complete. We're phasing this out, doing the West Paris Avenue first, and then along Madrid second. We've already had the survey work done on West Paris, so we're waiting for that to come back. Once Michael receives that, we'll start working on design and engineering, and then we'll be putting that out for bid. And then, in the meantime, we'll start doing the survey work for the Madrid area. The second floor of police department, haven't talked about that recently, but a permit has been submitted. Our building official had a couple of questions. Answers are coming back, so that's going to be in hand soon for the police department to start work. I recently signed a contract for the survey work to begin. You're seeing a lot of survey work going on. That means we're having a lot of projects going over for Casablanca, the stormwater project that we're working on over there. Let's see, while I'm at Casablanca, also between Casablanca Park and the Naval Heritage Park, we're looking at replacing the split rail fences with living fences. So that would be along Casablanca, the street, as well as around the playground at the Naval Heritage Park. So that will remove that. And
At Casablanca Park.
correct.
And then
So both parks. I'm looking at getting quotes on that.
I'll say something real quick to that. That came about as we had a citizen come up and bring a complaint because there used to be a chain link fence there, and then it would catch a lot of Spanish moss. It didn't look so good, so we put the split levels in, and a citizen brought up that they play basketball there and a ball can roll underneath the fence, so now we're fixing that. So it just goes to show you, if you see something, say something and bring it to our attention and we can work on it, so.
And while I'm at Naval Heritage Park as well, Noah's been in contact and working on getting some quotes for the tree maintenance, similar to what we did with the Live Oak Park, and we're just going park to park to get the trees looked at and maintained. And last item that I had for you guys was, you'll notice at the shrimp dock that there's a barge with a crane. We're not ready to demo. It is there just to take a look at things. He's in between jobs, so he figured he'd come by just to see how far his crane would stretch out when we are ready to do the project. we're not gonna be demoing anytime soon. He has another project to do after, so, or soon, within the next couple of days. But we are working on that.
Very good. Any questions?
No, sir.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. So now let's go over the agenda for next week's meeting.
We will have presentations by Nancy Plank, Ashley Hawk, and Megan Crew for a new event coming to Port Royal called the Off the Eaton Path. That will be occurring at the end of August.
It's been getting a lot of activity in the social media world.
Yes.
Read a lot about this and looking forward to it.
We will, prior to the meeting, let me backtrack, we will be having an open house here at the town from 4 o'clock to 6:30, discussing the Paris Avenue improvements. We'll have designs, boards, that way we can get citizen input, similar to the Reimagine Reboat, where residents can say what they like, what they don't like, put little stickers up if it's something that they do like. So after that, back to the presentations, we'll be having a presentation on the Paris Avenue improvements. For what they have right now, it's a work in progress. We're looking for citizen input, we're looking for council input, so they took a little bit of information, and now we're just kind of honing it in. And then Safe Harbor will be giving us an update as well.
They're gonna be here.
They will be here.
Representatives from
Yes,
Safe
sir.
Harbor.
Yep.
Do you know what we can expect? Will they have any drawings or anything we can look at?
Noah?
Can we
So-
encourage them to bring some drawings and let us look at them?
So Beach Company will be giving an update with site plan and design
Okay.
for the Bluff neighborhood.
Right, so let's clarify, there's two
there's two
separate
separate, correct.
presentations. The Beach Company is responsible for the Bluff neighborhood.
Yes.
They're gonna be presenting on that, and then Safe
They-
Harbor's gonna be the rest.
Yeah, so it'll be Beach Company and Bill Harris. They stole our architect and site planner for their project, so he will be presenting the designs as they are right now. That is also a work in progress. That's not a final site plan and not final
Understood.
building plans. And then Safe Harbor, I understand, is going to give an update on the marina area and where they're at with that as well.
Correct.
I don't think I have any more I can expand on
Yeah,
that at
and
the moment.
that's all we know right now.
That's when I was just in your talks with them, encourage them to bring as much information because we get asked all the time, and everybody in this room right here wants to know what's going on behind the fences.
and
This is a
can-
great opportunity for them to share with us.
I can promise you, at least the Bluff neighborhood section, there will be tangible visuals to review and ask questions on.
And
We wanna know
subject
what's
to
going
change
on.
momentarily.
We just want to know what's going on. We want to know, everybody know what's going on.
Mhm.
We will have first readings. Ordinance 2023-12 is an ordinance amending the business license ordinance of the town of Port Royal to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020. The town adopted the standardized business license from the Municipal Association back in October of 2021. This is coming from the Municipal Association and is modifying or updating the business license rate schedule as well as the class schedule. It will go into effect May 1, 2024. Ordinance
Again,
20.
this also, the standardization across the whole state.
Correct.
So this is, we're now standardizing across the whole state. That was the idea of this whole project, what's happening, common software, and so that way business owners can register, get their license for any place that they work in a very simple manner, and they know what their fees are gonna be.
Correct. 2023-13 is an ordinance to repeal Chapter 19, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 2, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 19-31, Control of Parking in Public Parking Areas or Private Parking Areas under the jurisdiction of the Police Department, and replaced with Section 19-31 through 19-41. This is an ordinance that town staff, as well as the police department and our town attorney, has worked on together. This will give the police department guidance on what they can do. They can enforce parking within Port Royal, as well as correcting what is incorrect plus citing. we've heard some issues along 12th Street. We've had residents come in, so this is just being proactive on that, as well as now we have these brand-new sidewalks in the town, and, you know, there's proper ways to park, and not on them is one of them.
This is good to hear. This is great news. Yes. It's great news.
And then council action. We have a memorandum of understanding between the town of Port Royal and the Low Country Council of Governments for the Low Country Installation Resilience Review Implementation. LOCOG has an opportunity to apply for a grant through the Department of Defense, and this is to fund a design work for the Shell Point Interchange Project. The project will focus on scoping and design of the environmental improvements at the interchange of US 21 at Paris Island Gateway, Reboat Road, and Malkin Drive. The total cost of this project is $429,082. The town's match of what that would be required from the town is $10,000, $727. This project will be coordinated with ongoing Shell Point drainage study that's going on.
Just to give you some background, in 2021, LCOG and the military installations received dollars to plan for military installation resilience. There's two parts of that planning. One is specific to the installations, and it's, you know, classified for their purposes, however it needs to be. Then there's also the public aspect of it. So while it's called military installation resilience, it's also catered to the communities surrounding those installations. So like Brooke said, this is the Shell Point Interchange project. And it's really passive ways, for the most part, to stabilize the coastline around that interchange, to mitigate marsh erosion, enhance and preserve the coastal habitat, mitigate flooding as well, and that's why they identified this as a pilot project in the plan, because risk of flooding on an interchange that comes in and out of a military installation is a risk for emergency response, hospital access, and several other kinds of majorly important things to those installations. So they have chosen, there's a suburban, a rural, and an urban project as pilots in this plan, and they have chosen this location in Port Royal as the pilot project for the urban transect.
Very good, they're calling it urban, first of all.
Yes.
That's very good. We've spent many, many years trying to get people to understand outside of this area, we're not rural, we are kind of urban in these areas. And just so everybody understands, we gave a lot of names there. Let's reference exactly what we mean by that. This is the Paris Island Gate interchange. So that's where Paris Island Gateway, US 21, meets Reboat Road, US 21, and Malcolm Drive is the road to the gate. So that's that interchange we're talking about right there, so that everybody understands what we mean by that. A lot of road names right in that area, and that's that interchange. So it's good. You go ahead and moving forward with that one.
And the final item on the agenda for right now is discussion of current state of town boards and commissions.
Very good. Let's do it. So next is important dates.
We have a busy month. Before we get to the council meeting, once again, we have the open house on Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, from 4 p.m. to 6:30 here at the town hall. Following that, we'll go into a council meeting at 6:30 p.m. Saturday, August 12th, we'll be beginning our fall street concert series with Bennett Mateo Band at 6 p.m. Tuesday, August 15th, redevelopment commission meeting here at the town hall at 4:30 and goes to 5:30. We'll be holding a joint council meeting, the town of Port Royal and the city of Beaufort here at the town hall on Thursday, August 17th, 2023 at 6 p.m. On the same day, it looks like we have the Municipal Election Commission and the Metro Planning Commission both at 5 p.m. The Election Commission will be held here at the Town Hall, and the Metro Planning Commission will be at the City Town Hall. Saturday, August 26th is the Fall Concert Series, New Orleans Suspects. And that, I believe, is all I have.
Very good. Questions from council for Brooke or staff?
Can I add a date?
Add a date.
Add a date. From the back row, I see this Saturday, we've got the Village People street cleanup. See who's spraying it. For anyone that's interested, at 8:30, they meet the first Saturday of the month, neighborhood pickup. I know a lot of people in this room show up to it, so just trying to get the word out. They meet at 8:30 at St. Mark's on Paris Avenue. Walk around for about an hour. It's a good community fun and do a little good on a Saturday morning if you're feeling up to it. So,
Thank you. Anything else? We will open it up then for public. Go.
I just want to say, in reference to that cleanup at 8:30, it's disheartening to know that they come and spend their time once a month or whenever and clean up, and that we have trash that is on the sides of the road at the same place that is not being ticketed, or if they're being ticketed, they're let go. And I think that, Brooke, I think that now falls under y'all at Town Hall?
No, it doesn't.
Still police.
Still
So
under
the-
police. We need to do something about it. The same places over and over again. And Captain Massey, I see you are the only ones here, and I will forward you those pictures, but enough's enough, and I think that we, as a town, have to stand up and take care of our town. If we're gonna allow people to come out and spend their Saturday cleaning up, then we need to do our job and ticket these people and make sure that something is done so it stops. That's all I have to say.
I think we should, I think it's time to take it a step further, and I think it's time to look at the bulk pickup or refuge pickup, however you want to describe this, the procedures, the policy, what's allowed to be placed out there. I think it's time to take a solid look at that. Spent the last week, I have a great opportunity to visit many towns and cities around the U.S. because of the other thing I do, the full-time job. And I've been asking them as I go, how do you handle refuge? It's just kind of conversations. And I'm getting a lot of unanimous that there's a specific day of the week or the month that everybody knows that that's one time, and it can't be put out before sunrise of that day, and then it's picked up that day and cleaned up. So I think it's time to take a look at that policy. I think we should sit down and have that maybe next month's workshop. It's a subject on the workshop to talk about. I'd love to see what the actual written, I know what's written in the public, what we kind of put out there, but is there anything other than just what we put out there? Was there ever any kind of an adoption of a policy?
Right, and this is something I have to, we have recognized it, and Captain Massey and I have already started kind of brainstorming a little bit, and we'll be happy to present something for next
Yeah.
month.
And I definitely would like
later.
Public Works to be involved, because I
Yes,
need
sir.
to understand how much they can do in a day. Do we need to section the city, the town, like what's ended up happening now with regular garbage collections? Even the haulers can't do it all in one day, and we have different zones. And do we need to make different zones for the areas so that they have a day, whether it's once or twice a month, it's put out in the morning, that morning of, or that afternoon, if we say late in the evening, the day before, and then we know by the next day it's gonna be cleaned up and all gone in one day. And then again, it's maybe another 2 weeks or another month before it's available again to do that. So Public Works has to be involved in this kind of conversation to lay out routes and what could be done and how far apart we want to get this. I think it's a great service we offer the place because it prevents dumping, it prevents littering in other aspects. If you ride down rural roads, you know what I mean by that. And I ride down a lot of rural roads on my bicycle, and it's amazing what people dump on the sides of rural roads and just in the woods. So it's another way to do that. But I think it's time to refine it a little bit. We're not a small town anymore. We've grown too big beyond that. So thank you, Mary Beth, for bringing it up. Anything else?
Thank Cat Bright for bringing it to our attention and continue to bring it to our attention.
don't give up.
And we're sorry that it has not still been addressed.
Don't give up. I'm responding to a statement she made in an email. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Anything else? No, sir. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public comment. Please remember to be respectful and civil with any of your comments that you have. I have a number of sheets that have been handed in. Some of this writing is as bad as mine. Is that Brianna? Does that sound right? Who lives at 10 Battery Lane?
Yes.
How do you say it?
It's Brian.
Brian. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I couldn't.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
struggling. Trust me, if I write
So,
my name,
yeah.
people can't see it's Joseph.
No,
I get
totally
it.
fine. Totally fine. So I came in today. I know that the last meeting that they had, there was talk about there is a LGBT Pride Festival coming up. And I wanted to come in today and kind of talk about that for a little bit. I wasn't here for the meeting, but I did watch the meeting online, and I did see there was a individual that talked about the fact that it was near the school, being afraid that it was would be too sexualizing for children, which is very interesting, in that aspect and that logic that individual brought to the table. That would be like saying that, a mother and husband kissing in front of the child would be too sexualizing for children. The purpose for me, in particular, of having a festival of this kind has really nothing to do with your sexuality. It has to do with being able to be open in your community, not being afraid to be who you are in your community, having a safe haven in your community, individuals that do not feel that they can talk to other people, within their family, within their school district, whatever it may be, knowing that this type of festival exists, this Pride Festival, I should call it, exists, it gives them that opportunity to go and talk to people that have programs for them that can help them, all sorts of things like that, and to that aspect. And I would just hate, I lived here for most of my life. I'll be 35 in 11 days. And I have watched the LGBTQ plus community grow over this past couple of years, Low Country Pride. And it's been really amazing, especially since, I did finish middle school and high school here, and it's really been amazing to watch. And I would hate to see this beautiful garden that has been planted and seeded to be trampled on. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. So I neglected to add something. If you look over to my right, your left, if you can see it, there's a little clock over there. It will get hung up later on to kind of help you understand what 3 minutes is, to try to keep you moving along a little bit and understand what 3 minutes. So we're just testing it for the first time tonight. We're counting up, or are we counting down?
Counting up.
We're counting up. So it starts at 0 and it counts up to the 3 minutes. We're going to try to get it mounted up on the wall to make it easier. But we came in today and we're just giving it a shot over there to kind of help everybody understand what 3 minutes is. If you get to the 3 minutes, I'll kind of ask you to try to wrap it up. That's all in that aspect. So Alex Moody, I can read that one. Sorry. Nothing, Brian. Like I said, you should see my handwriting. That's why I learned to type. That's why you learn to type. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Alex Moody. I'm a resident of Port Royal. I'm here to voice my support for the Low Country Pride Festival in November. I'd like to speak for a couple minutes, I swear it's 3, about why I hope you continue to support this event, and I also want to say a few words about children and safety. I attended last year's Pride Festival in Bluffton. I'd never been to a Pride event before, and I'm not afraid to admit that I wasn't sure what to expect. It turned out to be a great time. There were food trucks, local vendors, a bounce house, I believe, a parade, and overall a welcoming feeling, a sense of community and inclusion. It's exactly what you'd want to find in a growing town like Port Royal, a chance to gather with friends to have fun and to learn a little bit about your neighbors. And who knows, people might be inspired to learn more than a little bit. They might make an effort to learn about the Stonewall Uprising, one of the origins of Pride, or the many contributions members of the LGBTQ community have made to our culture. They may gain some empathy for people who are still told by parts of our society that they aren't welcome. And they might learn that you can't judge a local event by what you find in a quick Google search. At least that's what I hoped for when I first heard about the festival plans, that this is a community where we care enough about each other to take the time to listen and learn, rather than rushing into hasty condemnation. The Low Country Pride Festival is precisely what the town of Port Royal needs at this moment. These conversations, this awkward community dialogue that's taking place, they explain why events like this are still necessary over 50 years after Stonewall. They do important, positive work, and from what I can see, there is a lot of work to be done. I'll happily attend the event in November with my wife and son, and I'd like to speak for just a moment longer as a Port Royal parent who thinks about safety. My son, who is almost 9, has only known this town as his home. Day after day, I feel like I'm a walking emergency alert system. So I get it. There's an endless list of concerns, of rational or irrational fears that keep me up at night. A pride festival or a parade happening in our town or near a playground is nowhere near that list. I worry more about the dead limbs overhanging a playground. I worry about the drivers that turn our school commute into a stock car race like I used to watch at the old Hardyville Motor Speedway. I worry about homes with curious children and unsecured firearms. If people are unsure what happens at a pride festival or if they're fearful, that's all the more reason to support the event, because it's a learning opportunity for those who are willing to learn and who want to be part of this community's evolution. And I'd like to think there are plenty of people here in Port Royal and Greater Beaufort County who fall into that category. Again, thank you to the Town Council for welcoming the Low Country Pride Festival to Port Royal. I hope you continue to do so. I hope you believe in its importance, and I hope to see you all in November. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all. 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Perfect timing. Mary Foster. It didn't work.
It works.
It works?
I can't see it, but
That's okay.
I timed it before I came.
We're practicing. It's okay.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Mary Foster, and I'm here tonight because I'm delighted that the organization Low Country Pride is hosting a Pride celebration right here in Port Royal this fall. I've been fortunate enough to participate in Pride celebrations in Boston, Massachusetts, Portland, Oregon, Chicago, Illinois, and Jacksonville, Florida. While these celebrations were always exciting and invigorating and filled with wildly happy people, not wild and happy, wildly happy, I was always sad to live in a smaller community where no such celebrations existed. However, in the last few years, I've been to communities the same size as ours or smaller, like Huntsville, Ontario, and Homer, Alaska, and seen them pull out all the stops to celebrate Pride. It's always frustrated me and frankly embarrassed me that there's so little to publicly honor and celebrate the LGBTQ plus community here in Beaufort County. There's no Pride parade, very few Pride flags flown in our community, no rainbow-painted crosswalk, and only a handful of Pride stickers in store windows to be found. I was thrilled to learn there'd be an event in Port Royal this fall. I live in Beaufort, but I've been to several events here in Port Royal, and I can't wait to attend this one as well. I am a straight, cisgender female. Cisgender means I identify as the gender I was assigned at birth. In simpler terms, my insides match my outsides. My husband is also straight and a cisgender male. We are proud supporters and allies of the LGBTQ plus community, and we've been to many Pride celebrations together as straight, cisgender people. We're also the parents of a son who is transgender. When he came out to us 4.5 years ago, we were not surprised, but we were definitely concerned about his safety in this community. He's away at college now, attending the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, but he was stunned and delighted when I told him there would finally be a Pride celebration on this end of his home county. I know not everyone thinks my son deserves to be celebrated. I know his existence as a transgender person confuses some and feels in some way threatening to others, something I honestly don't fully understand. Please accept this personal invitation from me to each of you to reach out to me if you have questions or you want to understand more about my family's experience. What I can tell you right now is my son is brave, kind, and incredibly respectful. He's smart and loving and compassionate. He and all other LGBTQ plus people deserve to celebrate and be celebrated. Some people may not want to celebrate them, and I would simply suggest they stay home that day. But for those of us who do, I cannot tell you how much it means to me for you to allow a safe and fun event to take place right here in Port Royal. My family will be there, and we look forward to celebrating all of God's beloved children with you. Thank you.
Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson? Tom.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. My name is Tom Wilson. I'm an Episcopal priest, and I'm here on behalf of St. Mark's Episcopal Church here in Port Royal. I'm not going to repeat what has been said. I think it's been eloquently said. I will adopt all of it on behalf of St. Mark's. I could talk for hours about theology involved with this. That's not the time or the place to do it. I would say the Port Royal is a very special place. My family our children grew up in the area coming here. We have a home out on Fripp Island and have been coming to this area since 1983 and have watched, at a distance, Port Royal grow. And it's not just physical growth, it's the growth of the spirit, the ethos of who the people are, and a reflection in the most positive way of incorporation and inclusion. And I say that of a wide variety of folks, and that is the heritage of this community. And it is an example that can be given and shown for others. I would just add that, as I said, that this is a community that is welcoming. I'm not sure that it always was, but I would say that in the most recent years it has been. There's a breadth to that welcome. And I think this event that has been scheduled and has been supported for this fall will enhance that breadth. It's a vibrant and, if I dare say, hope-filled opportunity. An opportunity to learn that there isn't us and them, there's just us. There's just us. And that would be a reflection of my theology. That would be a reflection of my heart. And like the woman who spoke a moment ago, that would be a reflection of the fact that our oldest child is trans also. And that is something that we watched over the years and support and love. Not always understanding. And if you've raised children, you probably don't always understand your children. We have a second child and don't always understand her either. I've been married 42 years and we're still working on understandings between the two of us. This is not we don't arrive. This is a process, and I thank you for supporting this process of inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Emily Meyer, I'm not sure how you pronounce your last name. Are you in the room? Okay, she did not make the meeting. Because she did not make the meeting, I'm going to read into the record an email that she sent to me. She said she is a mother of under two, and wasn't sure she could make it to the meeting tonight. Dear Mayor and Port Royal Town Council, first, thank you for all you do making Port Royal a family-friendly, accepting place for all. My toddler and I love frequently your farmers market and enjoying all the events Port Royal offers for those of us who do live in Port Royal in the greater Beaufort area. I am writing tonight to voice my support for the Pride event you have been collaborating on for this fall. I know that the political climate makes it the political climate makes it difficult for hosting this type of an event. It's not popular in our area, but this is exactly why it is what is needed and necessary. Low Country Pride helps people in our community who often feel unsupported, and to see a local government embracing the LGBT+ community members of this area, and is a welcome change from what is being dominating the headlines as of late. I can guarantee my family and I will attend this fall to show our support for Low Country Pride, LGBT+ community folks, and the leadership of Port Royal, and will encourage everyone I know to do the same. Thank you again for all you do. Local government impacts the everyday lives of the people who hopefully never have to think twice about it. Best, Emily Mayer. We also received a second letter. Dear Mayor Joe DeVito, my name is Chelsea Nelson, and according to the 2021 Town of Port Royal zoning map, I have lived in the T4 Urban Center District for the past 2 years, and at present a proud Port Royal community member. I wanted to express my views on the LGBT+ Pride event coming to Port Royal in November. Prior to living in Port Royal, I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I had a wide support group of family, friends around, and engaged in many volunteer opportunities, sports, and more in my local community. In 2021, I moved down to Port Royal as part of a military family. I left behind my social circle related to activities and entered a period of isolation. As I work full-time from home and do not see my significant others frequently, as I struggled with the isolation, I started to frequent and visit Paris Avenue, enjoying the cypress wetlands and local businesses. There, people I spoke to, whether business owners, locals, or out of towns for their daily walk, were beyond welcoming. Slowly, I started to tell the connections I had made about my personal life when I had hesitated upon first arriving. To my delight, I was met openly and warmly through, and I had previously firsthand experience that were the opposite and prior to moving here. I started to feel a sense of home again, and I also discovered Low Country Pride on Facebook. As an avid reader, I joined their book club. With those actions, I began to recreate my sense of community once again, made of people from all walks of life. To my community is about embracing our differences and celebrating our commonalities. Many do not know I am LGBT+, unless I tell them, as this is not something you can necessarily see. In fact, you're really likely to encounter LGBT+ people when you're grabbing a cup of coffee, standing in the line, checking out at the grocery store, passing them as you walk your dog, and just doing everyday activities. With this being said, I think it's important that the LGBT+ individuals be visible in Port Royal community with the Pride event, since it is not necessarily obvious when you are interacting with them unless they choose to tell you. There is a fear in the unknown, but I think that it is fair to say that we want to be known so that others can see that we too are just typical people with relationships, family, friends, and hobbies. Also, we too can be upstanding community members who contribute to the local businesses, volunteers, and much more. We want to be part of the community, not to be the outskirts, as it also our home. Thank you, Chelsea Nelson. That's the last comment that I have to read into the record that was emailed to me. Any other public comment tonight? Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not sure that I. She's not school board. So, any other public comment tonight? Hearing none? Any other final business?
Yeah, just one thing.
Okay, got one on each end. Who would like to go
Go ahead,
first?
Kevin.
Jerry?
No, go ahead, Kevin.
I was just say real quick, I think we should give Brooke a round of applause over here, filling in. Van, our town manager's out on some much-needed R&R, and thanks for stepping up. And
Happy to.
yes.
Good job.
Yes.
I was just gonna say.
going to tell you that too.
Way to go, Brooke.
We all attended the Municipal Association meeting last week in Greenville. It's good to see all our council there. We had some educational opportunities and some various sessions, hear about legislative updates, regional updates, retail discussions, a good speaker with Chris Singleton, and time spent with other councils. I think it was time well spent with council and other folks. And if you follow any of us on social media, you'll see we've all posted that and learned a lot from it. So it's a good opportunity and enjoyed that.
It was fun.
Anything else? Well, if not, Kevin stole my thunder, but Brooke, congratulations on your first meeting. Thank you, everybody. Good night.